because we're looking at this one, and blue side means everything right now. As
famous Korean League of Legends coach. Has been everywhere with Bard and Karma, so makes Karma even more of a priority in second rotation because you don't want to give away kind of the other really strong range support, or maybe Caveman will look towards the likes of Nami.
yeah, Nami definitely been seeing a bit of a resurgence as Akon thinking about where he wants to go. Big smile on his face at the moment as the Aurelia is being hovered, and there's 1 second to go before he decides a Trundle will be a better idea.
I was going to say, blind picking Aurelia might be a little bit dangerous.
Potentially.
Although by picking Karma and Trundle together in the same rotation, it does give away their hand and their support in the top lane.
As they have a jungler or a mid laner be as well as they move into this next game, because Dandy probably looking to be a lot more proactive around the map in the early stages, because Saint have been getting the better of them throughout this.
Available. That said, it's very easy when you have such space control in front of you like Saint's comp to just kind of kite out Gnar's Rage Bar, make sure that he can't find those great flanking engagements.
Well, coaches are going to shake hands. Of course, Lung was a legacy Gnar player, and we'll see whether he's going to have a good game in game number 3 coming up right now. And once again, thank you, Acorn, for welcoming us to Summoner's Rift for the third time here today. Game 3 now between Vici and Saint. As Vici moving up the map, and we'll see whether they do manage to get a lane swap, something like that in this time. They tried the standard lanes in game number 2, didn't quite work out. We'll see where everyone is going to end up.
Should highlight the Keystone Masteries on your screen.
Yeah.
Nothing too out of the ordinary. Should be noted that it's Fervor instead of Warlord's Bloodlust for Ashe. So S2Z staying true and looking for that. Oh, this is cute. Looking for that 2v2 dominance. So how that works is in solo queue, a lot of people will try to make this tribe rush invade by standing near the top of the dragon and then rolling around that top dragon corner into the tribe rush. But the thing is if you really want to abuse Fog of War and suddenly appear on top of someone, you do exactly what S2IZ and Meidong did right there, is you walk down into that brush that leads into the lane, and then you walk up from the tip of that bottom wall and then around into the tribe rush. It means that they won't see you until you're pretty much right on top of them.
Well, certainly worked out just there. Landed a couple of spells on them as well. As Meidong and S2IZ now moving towards the top side of the map. And it looks to be a lane swap actually instigated here by Saint.
Also invading and forcing Dandy and Long to respond in terms of where they're starting for their jungle pathing. Not able to get any camps on their top side. Normally by starting Wolves versus Gromp. Although, hold on.
Yeah, Acorn actually one auto attack away from being stunned out here as March is going to be the focus. The horse in trouble as there's going to be first blood. It's going to be picked up with a flash from Caveman. Is now Endless in a potential trouble. Actually uses the heal, baits out Acorn. Acorn trying to get it but doesn't, and Endless grabs himself a kill as well.
And Endless should have certainly solidified himself as the starting 80 carry for Vici with a play like that. Caveman and Endless on this Ezreal coming up huge, denying the blue buff and picking up 2 kills.
And holding onto that heal for so incredibly long, waiting until Acorn had fully committed to that last auto attack. And then picking up the double kill. Wonderful play so far out of Vici's bottom lane.
Just no respect from March or Acorn given at all.
No. That's already 1,000 gold here at 2 minutes and 40 seconds. Snoopy taking some poke here from EasyHoon, but this lane generally a bit of a wash. Now you can see Meidong suffering the wrath of Caveman's Braum.
Won't be able to go very aggressive and use the buy advantage Endless has with the Cole, however, due to the massive creep wave in front of them. This is a moment where Saint can look to initiate the lane swap, but since Acorn decided to use his teleport bottom, should just mean that we continue to have kind of Australian standard lanes.
Yeah. Acorn, of course, not able to pick up any farm there as well, so unable to augment his Corrupting Potion with anything is Dandy looking to go aggressive.
Dandy may be invading red, but more importantly, STYZ and Meidong are actually running down towards those bottom side of the map. So again, Acorn doesn't have teleport. There could be a attempted kill on Long in this bottom lane, but if Long gets it away and Acorn's forced to walk back to the top side, it's going to be a big point of power for Vici.
Yeah, and this Trundle already with only 2 CS. Make that 3. Long picking up farm with this Boomerang. And one thing that Gnar has always been famous for is actually surviving in 1v2 lanes.
Yeah, just because he acts like a ranged AD carry and farm versus being one of the more traditional bruisey melee tanks in that top lane. But they will zone him off the tower, so we could look to now initiate a standard lane swap and look to push down turrets.
Well, teleport is going to come in. Long just going to help take down this turret. No time really lost here from Vici. It's just going to mean a massive CS lead for Long.
This is the correct call from Saint. Again, Acorn burned his TP. We have to go down in a system like this. We have to initiate the lane swap anyway and commit to this bottom side. Forces the TP response from Vici's Long in the top side.
Yeah, well, they are going to get a lot of damage onto this outer turret. Pretty sure they will be able to grab this one off this wave as well, especially if they hold the incoming. But you can see Saint, decent timing on this one as well.
Saint, though, have no ability to push through, although Dandy has now found March.
Yeah, actually doing a lot of damage here to the horse. So we'll slink back out. Nice knock up. That was fantastic.
A little bit scary. March had red buff, so Dandy being a bit overzealous, and like you said, using his Unburrow to negate a lot of that damage from the E.
Yeah. Very nicely played. Caveman was making his way down as Acorn doesn't quite take down the turret. as Lung is going to be able to grab full money from this one when it eventually does fall down in the next wave.
But that's a pretty big mistake. It seems very small, but you just lose so much time, and it's time that Saint could actually look to transition to a free objective like this Infernal Drake.
Yeah, Dandy is actually in the area, but he's deciding to go back. Doesn't have a lot of health, so this Infernal Drake is going to go to Saint. Big pickup against the flow here.
And so Vici fumbled the lane swap. Great response from Saint. It looked a little bit grim, forcing an early TP out of Acorn, but they had the right response, and they end up with very early power point, now looking at the possibility of a double Infernal start.
Yeah, if they can actually get this next one in 6 minutes, that is a huge deal.
And that's the cool thing, is that since they took the Dragon so early, it means that we will have 5 spawns before the Elder Drake takes over, which means the chances of getting that triple Infernal increase to about 37 to 40%.
Which is numbers that I'm not sure about, but I'm going to trust you on right now. It's endless.
We've done the math. If all of the dragons have equal spawns, which sometimes you get in a game, you're like, this is the 6th game in a row that I've gotten 4 Cloud Drakes. What is this?
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
possible, but still.
Well, you can see Snoopy actually still taking a lot of harassment here from EasyHoon. Entire control over this lane. No one really coming to help Snoopy either, as EasyHoon going for the dive. There it is, just pushes him back to his inner. And he's protected by his support and jungler. March in trouble. One more auto attack will do it, as Dandy's under the ground, but is able to make it to safety. EasyHoon with the easy 1v1.
And EasyHoon having control over that mid lane opens up power for Dandy to take Caveman and start invading into March's jungle. Again, still relatively fragile because we have the perfect blue timer. Oh, never mind. They didn't clear the 2 little sentinels.
Yeah, not this time. As you can see, Maedong and S2YZ
They just
holding on.
took the horse and the troll for a ride.
Yes. Speaking of the troll, now just taking a Gromp camp as Long in Meganar, the adorable Snow Day Meganar.
I never see this skin anywhere else. I haven't seen Gnar in a bit, though.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a hot minute.
Or a cold minute, depending on, you know, the skin.
It's definitely hot in here.
Well, it is. That's your fault. As Snoopy now moving up, trying to regain some sort of control over this lane. 13 CS behind, and now a kill as well, as Nash's Tooth well and truly on the way for EasyHoon. Only needs to complete the recipe, but thankfully Hex Core Mark II has been picked up.
So he's got his upgraded laser, able to freely clear out these creep waves. Good position for Victor to be in. Pretty safe, despite the fact that he is that kill down. Just needs to throw out his little laser.
And those little red dots moving towards him will be dissipating. Endless and Caveman continuing to do okay here in this lane. Endless now with the tier as well as the cull. Not exactly high lane dominance items, which is why you're seeing a slight CS discrepancy. S2YZ playing fantastically well this series, honestly.
Likewise, Ashe also has a lot of control over the bot lane. I say this every single time because I love Ashe. Did force that cleanse response out of EasyHoon, just having that pick on the board. Like, she's so good. She has great matchups 2v2 because she has a lot of lane control with the volley. She has the ability to start fights and have so much utility on her kit. She forces the enemy mid laner to take cleanse, so she denies a lot of the double TP meta, which isn't as punished by Vici's comp since they do have that Rek'Sai.
She has her own scrying orb.
Yeah, vision has been changed, so the hawk shot means a lot more. Like, literally the only thing Ashe doesn't have going for her is that she's immobile. But when you have the likes of Aurelia and Echo and Trundle and Gnar still running around, I mean, even if you have an Ezreal or a Lucian, that's still unsafe.
Everything's unsafe. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Throw your utility, be done with your job.
Well, now you can see Vici actually stealing away this blue buff as well. March getting a little bit of his own medicine as EasyHoon's going to come over and pick that one up. Continues to have his lane dominance, and it will only get worse from this point on. S2YZ and Maedong look like they're having a bit of a sleep. Acorn getting in there, subjugates down. Nice flash from Long. Does try and get in front, but Meganar comes out. Now able to disengage from that one.
Yeah, unfortunately didn't have any sort of answer for the slap back, as meanwhile mid.
Oh my goodness. Emperor's Divide is going to miss, but Snoopy's still extraordinarily low. Caveman makes his way in, and EasyHoon's still looking for this kill. Dandy's going to get that one delivered to him. A nice play from Vici so far, 4-0.
But that's the 3rd time that they've made that exact play. Not in this game, but in this series alone. that is the telegraphed Vici play where suddenly it's Dandy, it's Easyhone, no wait, it's also the support. They constantly 3v1 the mid lane.
Yeah, or 3v1 anywhere where it's needed, really, as Endless pretty used to being on his own. Falling behind a little bit in the farm, but when you've got a 1-0-1 Ezreal as well as the Azir, still definitely happy about it. Shield goes down at STYZ, but nothing really doing as Easyhoon once again looking to organically take this tower in the mid lane, much like game number 1.
Does mean props, though, to Endless. Really want to highlight that. It could also mean why Vici continue to prioritize Ezreal as a pickup while other other teams in AD carries are moving towards the likes of Caitlyn, Sivir, and Ashe. Because by leaving Endless alone for so long, he has to be self-sufficient. There's an arrow in that lane. That's very easy for Ashe to lock down a kill.
Damn right. Although quite difficult to hit an Ezreal. As March looking to try and do exactly that. Pink ward will be taken. God, Elderwood Hecarim looks so cool. It's fantastic. Mega skin props to March.
This portion of the cast brought to you by Riot Skin Department. Thank you, Atlas.
Come on, man. I just really like it. As you can see, the wave shoved in here from Saint towards the bottom side. We've got 10 seconds on the Dragon. Will be the second Infernal Drake in a row for Saint if they can get it. You can see Dandy is moving towards that side of the map.
STYZ has been sitting on so much gold. This guy has not had a lot of back, so that is a Sheen versus a Cole and a Doran's Blade. If Endless and STYZ can get into position, as Endless farms bottom, it's not good for Saint.
Well, Caveman just walking up to them. He's got the ultimate out as well as Maydong slowed down completely. Ultimate has to be used very defensively from March as Easyhoon has to be flashed out of the way of. Arrow soars by majestically.
TP now.
Yeah, well, Acorn actually looking to try and get in here, but double teleports coming out. As long, his is going to be cancelled as well. They noticed the fact that Acorn decided not to come in, so they're going to leave. Oh, wait, actually, no, Long is going to complete his. So.
No, it's fine. It's Long completes his teleport, which means that Vici have to take the Dragon now, and Saint have to back up. But the big issue is that Saint, like, look at what STYZ just bought. He just bought a BF sword and a Zeal.
Yeah.
That is a massive power spike that was missing for a very important 5v5. And they were willing to do it. They looked for the teleport play. Acorn was ready to come down, but just the miscommunication, the lack of preparation, the lack of patience, it's just these small little things that continue to eat at them as a team.
Yeah, and I mean, that's sort of pretty elementary stuff, really, making sure that you get your back timings in because they knew exactly what they wanted here.
And it's them engaging on the Dragon.
Yeah. Well, Endless picking up farm now. No turret available as STYZ shoving this minion wave in. Has to be a little bit careful. Caveman is moving his way down, but Dandy nowhere to be seen. There's no arrow available as Easyhoon going to shift some sands away. That is an interesting interaction as now STYZ is well and truly dead on the bottom side of the map.
Doesn't have his support. It was Maydong rotating out towards that mid lane to assist his team, and STYZ just way too far forward, not respecting the gap closing potential of Rom and Ezreal.
Yeah, and didn't have flash either. I mean, feels a little bit like disrespect at that moment, but did manage to pick up a bunch of farm. Easyhoon, thankfully for Vici, was able to get away from the gank. Now March trying his hand towards the top side. Long wants to try and bounce out of this one. We'll see whether he can. There it is. Gets a bit of a hop. Flashes over the pillar. There's now Boomerang's coming in, slowing everyone down. And Nah, if you remember about this champion, really difficult to gank.
And Long eats up so many resources with his increased mobility on that champion, which means that Vici get time not only in this bottom lane, but also in the mid lane. Vici were actually trying to set up for a possible tower dive, which Snoopy rightfully respected and backed up. But that does mean damage done to both turrets.
Yeah. Looks like Steric's Gauge might be looked at here from Long. I have a feeling he's probably not going to want to use the Titanic Hydra, because of course it only works half of the time. Now Endless going to get himself a blue buff. This control over the buffs from Vici has been pretty impressive, as Acorn now tanking up this turret. Does
Long's
have a bit of armor, as there's the ultimate. Yeah, oh, doesn't quite transform in time, and March is able to pick up the kill with that rampage.
But meanwhile...
Yeah, STYZ still in trouble. Doesn't have flash, and Easyhoon once again delivered a kill.
He didn't even try. He stopped moving. He hit the stop key. It's okay, STYZ. We all saw it.
Hands off keyboard.
I'm not going to throw the ultimate. It's not worth burning the cooldown here.
Well, turret is going to be answered towards the top side of the map, at least from Saint. They've kept themselves within that 4,000 gold gap, but that has been there for a long time. And Vici are now going to be able to take down their own turret here towards the bottom side.
But yeah, sacrificing their star AD carry of the team to prioritize Acorn. Yes, he's on a utility champion like Ashe, so would still be able to be useful in these team fights as long as he hits his arrow. I like the call from Saint, but we'll see if Acorn can be put in a position of power to do anything.
Yeah, he is still competitive in farm at the moment. Almost has that Ravenous Hydra completed, as well as having a Giant's Belt in his back pocket. As Easy Hoon wants to stop the back and is successful doing so.
But that's the only point on the map that is even for Saint, is the top lane. Otherwise, again, Dandy on this Rek'Sai, full jungle control. It started at the early level 1 invade from Caveman and Endless, which then bled into the fact that they had control over the bottom lane. Easy Hoon organically won his lane because Caveman was able to leave Endless alone since he got that early advantage and help gank and get mid lane ahead. And now they're continuing to invade and lay down triangle vision into Saint's blue side.
And you can see Dandy happily just stealing away this Grom camp as STYZ just can't catch a break right now. Easy Hoon also moving over. He's farming with the clock, but also being so present in all of these gank attempts that Vici do have, as Dandy Tremor Sense is going to spot out March completely. And Snoopy now in potential trouble. Ghost is going to come out. Now Dandy was looking for something, but March there to flank.
Using that stronger or buffed Ghost to get himself to safety, as now Long has set up the wave in the top side, and Vici are just going to make a nice little pattern through the mid lane towards the top.
Oh, and I forgot that the little arm guard now builds into Frozen Heart as well. I mean, so Frozen Mallet.
The utility,
which is exactly what Long wants to build.
And the chase potential on Vici's comp is pretty outrageous right now.
Yeah, almost everyone. As Dandy going to soak a snare from the Karma, and really nothing much happening. Long, Meganar is there. Can hop onto someone. Doesn't have flash, though.
And Acorn, again, the only power point for Saint on the map right now is trying to do what he can and push down that inner bot tower. So Vici just need to hold on, see if they can get an objective for free.
Well, STYZ trying to hold on to this wave as Acorn notices everyone leave and says, oh, this is fishy. I'm getting out. It is going to be a third Infernal Drake spawning as well, so Saint will be kicking themselves right now for not being able to lock that second one down.
That is... I'm looking at the dragons.
Vici only has one.
I'm a little confused.
Yeah. So they're getting ahead of themselves.
My
getting ahead of ourselves just a little bit.
Is predicting the future.
And look, it's honestly a relatively safe bet at this stage, but anything can happen. Long shoving things out. Abyssal Scepter done here for Snoopy. Only one upgrade in the Hex core, so it doesn't have the extra movement speed from the Q.
I was going to say I was going to give them the Infernal Drake anyway, but my spectator...
He's just way ahead of you.
Yeah. That guy knows something I don't.
Yeah, damn right. Hawkshot spots this one going. True Shot Barrage going to head towards the top side, looking to clear out this minion wave, but doesn't get anywhere near it. Double Infernal Drake now rotating around Vici. And they may just sack this inner turret. Long is waiting around. The arrow lands, and the top laner is going to have to be sacrificed as well. That's a huge flash from Long. Even is able to pick up his boomerang. Seems you just cannot gank this at all, as Easy Hoon looks for STYZ, gets over the top, picks it up easily with the flash, is now Subjugate rotating around Long. It's a double kill for Easy Hoon, however, on the back side. And I don't even think Long's going to die.
Long is still alive, blinking health bars as he limps away, saves his tower, and turns it around for Vici. And that's the thing. Vici have the gold lead. They should not be ever in a position where they're trading objectives.
Well, they certainly weren't there, able to react in time, pick themselves up at bot lane tower. Endless just arcane shifts away from Acorn, who doesn't have flash.
He's running into Snoopy, though.
Yeah, we'll see whether the Victor can get there. Yeah, the Ghost is up. Endless once again. Arcane shifts his way out. Lots of cooldown reduction as March is now being chased towards this AD carry. Endless is able to get to safety. Had to use his flash, though.
Draw so many resources. They now know that Saint on the bottom side of the map. Immediately, Vici are rotating towards the top side, and STYZ's like, hello, team? Ping?
Oh, and Endless just stole the blue buff as well. That is ridiculous. STYZ is so dead. This is night and day performances in games 2 and 3. This Ashe 0, 4, and 0 having an awful time.
Just shuts down on every turn, and Vici just being so much more present and aware around the map as they're now turning towards this Baron.
Yeah, I haven't started it just yet as EasyHoon's going to make his way in. And there it is. So Baron started, and it's taking a lot of damage.
The power of the double Infernal Drake still meaning quite a bit, even though it's only 20 minutes in the game. And without any sort of response from Saint, it is a very easy purple worm.
Super swift Baron, and it's an 8,000 gold lead here for Vici as well at 20 minutes into this game. We're not used to talking about it. Vici with huge early leads, but this is most certainly one of them.
Again, props to Endless and Caveman. They're really the two initiators that got this all snowballing for them with that beautiful invade.
Yeah.
Empowered Dandy to really take full control into March's jungle since his bottom lane had the 2v2 advantage when the lanes got swapped back. That bled into the mid lane with Caveman's roam in there.
Yeah, 106 now on the Braum as well. 7 out of 9 of the kills participated in as Dandy's found March. But don't think he's going to be able to kill him.
And from there, it's really just been the Dandy show. Using this Rek'Sai, she'll now have, well, if Vici win this, 100% win rate throughout the series.
Yeah.
And just night and day how much control junglers get over their different quadrants with Rek'Sai.
Whoa, the ultimate actually burned here as Dandy looking for a way in on the back end underneath this inner turret. Baron buff rotating though, and you can see, oh my god, Maydong did not last long as the inner turret's going to fall down, and now with the man advantage, Vici looking to push onto the inhibitor.
And S2IZ is nowhere to be found. He's finally reset his position back into the base, but he's too little too late.
Yeah, can't do it. In 3 versus 5, there was no way Saint were going to find a way in. This inhibitor is going to fall down. It's boomerangs, everything flying in.
They're looking to end the game.
Yeah, continuing to push. Baroned up minions. Doing a lot of work tanking things, and you can see EasyHoon with so much zone control in this Azir. They lose a Nexus turret, and Vici actually thinking about just winning. True Shot Barrage! It is going to be able to take down the Ashe, and Vici now know they are going to be able to get this work done. EasyHoon now uses his ultimate, makes sure that he's able to get out of this one as March goes for the hero play, but he's not going to be able to. EasyHoon still not going to die as Stand Behind Me keeps him safe. Chaos Storm looked good. Snoopy able to clean up the support, but EasyHoon doesn't stop, and the Nexus falls down. That is probably one of the earliest victories that we've seen Vici ever pick up.
That was a 22-minute victory. That said, Vici, again, kind of going back to this idea of how well they play when they're ahead because they know exactly where to be on the map and win. I think the earliest victory the team has ever had was a 19-minute victory.
Oh, damn it.
And
if there's a top 3 ranking, I reckon this one's in there.
Definitely. But it just, again, Vici, they're so oppressive when you give them a lead, especially 8,000 gold at 19 minutes. Yeah,
and you can feel like, honestly, that Vici were pretty upset at themselves for losing game number 2. Honestly, that felt like it was a vengeance type situation in game number 3, and they came out swinging. But the fact that they didn't manage to get, full points for it necessarily by getting the 2-0, I think is a big deal for this team.
Definitely. Again, they've kind of set themselves up so that they're just underneath the elite, losing to the likes of RNG, WE, and Newbie. They haven't faced EDG yet. You have to think that that's going to be a big, tough, uphill climb. And it's the fact that Vici have always been a team about development, but you can feel it that they want to be an elite team. They don't just want to be the team, it's the EasyHoon and Dandy squad, and then they're developing kind of this really young Chinese talent in their rotating AD carry and their support Caveman. I mean, you have a bit more of an established player in Long up in that top side. They want to be a threat. They want to have some teeth in this.
Yeah, they most certainly do, and I'm really glad that you mentioned Caveman there as well, because his Braum play was fantastic. His Bard in game number 1 was outstanding, well deserving of that MVP. This is a guy that I've personally been sleeping on just a little bit, but he's got a lot of skill in that support position.
He's definitely the diamond in the rough in terms of Vici's bot lane and performance. We don't really know where his skill ceiling is. I'm not going to put him in the same leagues as the like Mako and Mata or PYL when PYL is on form.
Not yet,
but not a liability, whereas I think it's very fair to say that game 2, Xuan was a liability to Vici, caught out at very insignificant or significant moments in that game.
Yeah, and honestly, Vici were a little bit of all sorts during game number 2, and really good that we saw them actually pull themselves back together and go for the dominating victory. But the thing that's really interesting about this is the prevalence of Rek'Sai. Such an incredibly important pick for both of these teams. And someone needs to work out what else you can play. It's not Hecarim, it's not Graves.
It's funny,
We've
too,
discovered
because
that.
if you actually look at Dandy's pick rate for champions, he actually wasn't picking a lot of Rek'Sai. Like, we understand Dandy, like, his career history, he's always been a cerebral control jungler, so Rek'Sai fits right into that. Probably, I mean, if you kind of discount, like, his big Rengar performance.
Yep.
But he would have to play these really hard carry junglers because it was like no one else could step up and carry on Vici. Now that you're getting more of a stable performance from EasyHoon and Long and even occasionally Endless or Xuan, it's opened up Dandy to pick up the Rek'Sai and show, his full macro potential as a jungler. He looks beautiful on that champion and his pathing where he needs to be and how he controls the map. But now it's almost like, is there an over-reliance on it?
Well, it does seem to be a little bit like that, as MVP for that last game is going to go to EasyHoon, 6-0-4, and got a solo kill to boot.
Yeah, EasyHoon had a much better game this time around. That said, he wasn't, all of his lanes didn't collapse around him and then walk into his lane as well, so a bit more patient.
He did do 44% of his team's damage as well, which is pretty damn huge.
That's absurd. That number is actually just ridiculous. You don't really ever see a number that high in terms of damage done to champions.
Especially in a game that only lasts 22 minutes as well. Well, it's not likely that you're going to be grouping up for these massive Azir team fights.
I had to run him through a little bit.
Yeah, as you can see, this is most certainly the EasyHoon highlight reel. The man played phenomenally well. So, good. And look, he played Azir 3 games in a row. They're priority picking this champion. I have a feeling we're going to see a few bans maybe of the Golden Chicken moving into the next series that we see Vici in.
I don't think there's any worth in banning out Azir, in all honesty.
Really?
Yeah, just because on the current meta, because Ryze, Vladimir, Swain, we're not seeing him banned at all, but Ryze and Vladimir definitely. And then trying to pick out something against Dandy, I think Rek'Sai. I don't agree with the Nidalee ban at all.
Yeah.
Yes, Dandy is an incredible control-oriented jungler, and Nidalee kind of empowers both the ability to control and also be like a very scary damage threat, especially early game. But like Rek'Sai is just way too high, like too much good stuff on one little package.
Yeah, exactly right. And of course you can farm almost as effectively as Nidalee as well, so you're not even really losing out too much in that department.
So especially on red side, I just don't think that there is an option. And EasyHoon has shown that he plays, Lissandra, Ryze, and Azir as kind of his 3 primary champions. We haven't seen him pick up the Vladimir. No doubt that he could play it. Vladimir is also kind of in an overtuned position.
Yeah.
So there's just, I don't think he'll ever get hit with an Azir ban. If you do, you leave open too many other scary power picks that are an issue. Yeah,
that's a very good point. So we'll see whether he's going to continue to be able to get it. And going over to the side of Saint, there weren't too many good news stories if we look at games 1 and 3. However, game number 2 was looking great for the team. Maedong as well looked fantastic on the Thresh. Do we think that this guy is a good addition to this roster? Shu was a decent player himself, had a little bit more LPL experience, but Maedong sort of out of nowhere. Guy's looking okay.
Yeah, but the individual 1v1 performance of any member on Saint is never going to be the issue. It's about how well they work with teams. It's nice that Maedong came in, played his Thresh, showed that he's a playmaker, and that given the opportunity, he can open up victory for his team. I think the high point that you take away from this match is March looked great on Rek'Sai, was pretty much doing exactly what you would expect that champion to be able to do in controlling the jungle, trying to keep Dandy down. You had the right thought going from Saint, deep boarding against Dandy, trying to track him, making sure that he's just not running you around. Acorn on his back-to-back Rumble plays, even in the game that he lost, was actually playing very well.
He was.
So there's another high point, and now it's just about STYZ not going 0-5 from MVP to -5. And playing champions that maybe he's more comfortable on. Maybe there's a champion pool or an effective champion pool issue there. The fact that, Ezreal, Caitlyn banned away from him and he goes to the Ashe and unfortunately he's just punished for it.
Yeah, and I think he had the opportunity to go to the Ezreal in the last game, decided not to pick it up, and the Ezreal was then picked up by Endless afterwards. However, the fact that he's so incredibly different between the Jhin, Caitlyn, or the Ashe performance that we just saw is a real big deal, as we are going to see where everything went wrong at the beginning of this game, as the target prioritization was actually pretty fantastic here from Vici.
Yeah, Caveman and Endless played this very well, and again, this isn't STYZ's fault. He's already dealing with a blue buff Braum and an Ezreal that has a buy advantage over him in lane, so it makes sense that STYZ is not going to have the best time in that lane. It's just kind of his late game decisions, when he's farming top lane as his bottom lane in him is being pushed in.
Yeah.
And that's actually pretty stereotypical of STYZ. It's almost like this rage farming, if you will.
Yeah.
He used to have this reputation of him that maybe a bit of an emotional player.
Well, it did certainly look like it. As Easyhoon, you can see, took control of this mid-game really effectively. And we actually saw some dejected faces on the side of Vici after their first loss. And I have a feeling we're going to see some smiles after this because, man, it was definitely a dominating game number 3.
Oh, yeah, but this is what we expect from Vici when they're ahead. They know exactly where to be on the map, so they should be able to close.